Welcome back to another episode of the Tracy Take. Today, we are going to be talking about the unfortunate J.K. Dobbins injury and how that will affect the Baltimore Ravens offense. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell so you can get notified when we send out new content. Like this video, comment on this video, let us know your thoughts, and help us out with that YouTube algorithm. And Ryan, I gotta say, I feel really bad for J.K. Dobbins. He had a phenomenal rookie year, honestly, and he was going to
Yeah.
continue on this trend. But I don't think it's going to personally affect the offense too much. It might affect their depth a little bit. A lot more it's going to go on Gus Edwards, unless if they
Mhm.
bring someone in, which we will get into. But specifically talking about J.K. Dobbins, it's really unfortunate, especially in a preseason game. I think it's one of the main reasons why they're starting to slowly eliminate preseason games. But sucks for him, and I hope he makes a speedy recovery. But if there was a time to do it, honestly, this point of the year, probably the best, so then he can be
Mhm.
100% by the beginning of next year.
Yeah. And then as the team hits midseason form, they can kind of uh, grow into themselves as the season goes on instead of
Yeah.
losing a major key in the middle of it. I do think it will have a decent impact on the offense,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily in like the running game or the passing game, because I think they have backs that can do both of those things. I
Yeah.
just don't think they have one back like J.K. Dobbins that can do both. And so one of the things that the Ravens love to do is get Lamar Jackson out of the pocket and kind of let him pick which level of the field he wants to throw to and level off the defense.
Yeah.
And so I think this limits them in that way is like the defense is going to know now when you have a receiving back in versus when you have a running back in. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not going to be as unpredictable. I do still think that their power run game will be very good. They still have a pretty solid offensive line. If they run some of those two tight end sets, they're basically running with 7 linemen out there.
Yeah.
And so I think their running game itself won't be impacted, but I just think their overall offensive predictability is what really takes a hit here, because losing a player that can do both of those things out of the backfield gives your offense a whole nother level of
Yeah.
potential. So
Well, so I know, like the first thought was everyone went straight to Gus Edwards, and Gus Edwards, him and J.K. Dobbins had similar yardage from last year. J.K. Dobbins had just over 800, while Gus Edwards had 723 yards with 6 touchdowns.
mhm.
And I think I missed this. I'm not sure how many touchdowns J.K. Dobbins had. I believe it was about 8 or 9 last year. But so
Yeah, something
they
like
had
that.
similar production, and I mean, I know it's asking a lot, but neither guy really was too big of a receiver out of the backfield. So it just seems like Gus Edwards. It seems like he's just going to have a huge year this year. If he's just going to play every down, going to take every carry, because they
Mhm.
really split a lot of the time last year. And Gus Edwards has been a very reliable back for the Ravens. He's had over 700 yards each of the past 3 seasons. I think he will transition fine into being the number one back. Um,
Mhm.
but you hit a key point. It's going to be the depth, and then if Gus Edwards isn't in, but they have the receiving running back in, then it's going to be very obvious that hey, they're probably going to be throwing the ball on this play. So it is going to take away
Yeah.
from some of their, I guess, disguisability on their offensive plays.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And not that Gus Edwards can't provide that. That's just not necessarily what he was known for.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so having J.K. Dobbins back there, I mean, he was kind of a true 3 down back. And even though they didn't necessarily utilize him like that, just from his experience at Ohio State that he can
Yeah,
catch the ball out of the
yeah.
backfield and
I,
create plays in the open field. So
Yeah, I think last year Dobbins had only 120-ish yards out of the backfield, if I read that correctly. But
receiving yards,
I thought that was small because that was about the same as Gus Edwards. But
yeah,
if you look back at Ohio State, he can definitely be utilized more as the 3 down back, as the
yeah,
guy that can come in and if he's in the backfield, you could be a screenplay or it could be a run play. He can honestly do it all. So I think that's where that's going to be. Have some impact on it, but we don't really know how he was going to be utilized. Actually, except wasn't it actually a
yeah,
pass play that he tore his ACL on?
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
was.
it was a check
Yeah,
down play. Okay, yeah.
yeah. It was a
So
little screen pass and then when he turned up field, it kind of
Yeah.
hyperextended his knee, and it's very sad. I hate seeing young players like that get
Hmm.
hurt and miss a whole season of their career just because stupid plays. And I know the NFL is trying to take away hits to the head, but hits down low can end
I
careers.
We are definitely related. I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
It was like you defensive players seems like like they get penalized so much if they accidentally hit helmet to helmet on a defenseless receiver. And this time, like he wasn't defenseless; he was trying to make a cut. Um,
yeah,
but it seemed like that player he was going more low, and
yeah, yeah.
you're gonna bring the knees into play. You're gonna bring in all that stuff, and I'm not saying concussions are better than ACL tears. I don't think either one of us is saying that,
No, 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 no.
but just because you're trying to eliminate another problem doesn't mean it's not going to bring up another one. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's I maybe just since it was 3 preseason games, but this is the only major injury that happened in games that I can
yeah.
think of. But it's still sad to see.
Yeah. And so while it is sad, the Ravens do have to move on and play the rest of the season without J.K. Dobbins. And we kind of already mentioned Gus Edwards, but there are a few outside guys that are getting a little bit of, steam rolling as people, speculate on who they could sign. Le'Veon Bell, for me, is the one that makes the most sense. I think he fits that system really well, versatility wise. He is a little up there in age. But again, he's a guy that you could probably bring in day one, and he could provide a similar impact that J.K. Dobbins could have. So,
And I feel like age because you're just trying to think of someone to help Gus Edwards. Because I feel like Gus Edwards is going to have. I mean, if he stays healthy, but I almost think he's almost a lock for 1,000-yard season. I mean, he was at 700 and he split time with J.K.
yeah.
Dobbins. So you're
And
really just
Mark
trying.
Ingram was there last year too, I think.
Mark Ingram was still there last year. That's a good point. Actually, where's Mark Ingram? No, Mark Ingram's with Houston, right? Yeah, because I was saying they could bring him back.
Yeah.
That could be a potential trade that they do. He's already similar with or used to the system. But Le'Veon Bell, I think that would work out because you're just trying to give trying to give Gus Edwards some time to breathe, really, when Le'Veon Bell is playing because he's going to be playing a lot. Todd Gurley, I think, was a name that I saw lying around, and that one potentially could be it. But there aren't really too many options now, I think, at this point. You could probably pick up some guys that were cut, but they're not. You don't know if they're going to provide the impact, I think.
No, yeah. And
That
at this
those two
point,
guys can.
your options are, trying to pick up somebody who I guess would be a diamond in the rough off of waivers or trading for somebody. And
Yeah.
so I don't really think that they're going to address the position without really going the Le'Veon Bell route or just pulling from the depth that they already have.
Yeah.
Either way, I still think that the Ravens will have a pretty effective run game with Lamar Jackson at the helm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their power run game with Gus Edwards will be just as effective. Again, it's just I think that versatility and maybe passing out of the backfield that is going to take probably the biggest hit. So,
Yeah. I think so as
yeah.
well. I think Lamar Jackson is going to have to step it up probably in the throwing game. They'll probably try and utilize a little bit more of those kind of run by passes, those bubble screens, those quick slants, where guys that are wide open just because there's not enough time for the defender to get up there. They'll probably utilize that more, so we might see Lamar Jackson break 3,000 passing yards this year. And I think he did a couple years ago, actually.
Yeah, I think he had 35 as MVP year.
Yeah. But yeah, he's also going to increase his rushing yards as well. So it's going to be interesting with the Ravens. I think the Browns fans probably love to see it because it's one less issue that they have to see, and probably what we say are the division favorites. But it's going to be interesting to see how the Ravens move forward from here.
Yeah. And unless you have anything else to add, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Tracy Take. If you have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. Let us know if you think anyone besides Le'Veon Bell or Todd Gurley could fill in for the Ravens this season.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you guys next time.